This podcast is sponsored by Ramp. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now, get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/easy. Ramp.com/easy. ramp.com/easy.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
You know how to book flights and hotels. All you're missing is a tool to plan the travel experiences you'll have once you arrive. That's why you need Viator. Book guided tours, activities, excursions, and more in one place to make your trip truly unforgettable. Viator has over 300,000 travel experiences to choose from. Everything from simple tours to extreme adventures and all the niche, interesting stuff in between. So you can plan something that everyone you're traveling with will enjoy. Real traveler reviews give the inside scoop from people who've already been on the experiences you're considering. So you can plan with confidence. Free cancellation helps you plan for the unexpected. And 24/7 customer support means you can travel worry-free. Download the Viator app now and use code Viator10 for 10% off your first booking in the app. Find travel experiences for you. Do more with Viator.
BSM presents The Tim Weisberg Show, streaming live on WBSM.com and the WBSM app. Call 508-996-0500. Send us app chat messages and open line voicemails using the WBSM app. Now, The Tim Weisberg Show.
And welcome back in. Hour number 3 of the program here on Wednesday morning. And coming up in just a little bit, we're going to have a guest joining us in studio. We're going to be talking about reggae on West Beach and the challenges that this event is facing in getting all the proper permitting and permission. So we're going to talk about that. But until then, 508-996-0500. I got an app chat message from someone who said, I read your article about the Treasure Hill Thrift Emporium in New Bedford on Tarkin Hill Road and the book swap. And when I went by, they were closed. And yes, they are closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. However, they do open today. They're open today from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. So if you want to go and take part in that book swap, you can go today. And if you want to find out more about it, you can check out that article at WBSM.com, on the WBSM app, on our Facebook page. But basically, you can trade up to 3 books a week. You bring in a book, you can take a book. And I guess there are some restrictions on, which books you can swap, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. They're pretty relaxed there. And it's a great shop anyway. Check it out and see what you think. I think you'll find some sort of treasure at Treasure Hill Thrift Emporium. We also got an app chat message from Jeff in Fall River who says, Sketty needs a show. She is full of energy. So, I don't know. The Sketty show would... I think Sketty could do a 24-hour-a-day streaming podcast where she just has an open microphone and brings positivity to people whenever they need it. I once tried to do a 24-hour broadcast. We had Spooky South Coast. We had all these years worth of archives built up, and we said let's do a New Year's Eve marathon where we run a bunch of, because we had our own internet stream through my Midnight FM endeavor that I used to have. And I was like, let me do a 24 hours straight of Spooky South Coast New Year's marathon. And then I said, and then I'll follow it up on from New Year's Eve at midnight to New Year's to January 2nd midnight, I'll do a 24-hour straight broadcast. And then I thought the better of it. I think something came up and I had to do something else, but I thought that, I was like, I can do it. I can do it. I am so glad I did not try to do that. Now doing 3 hours here with you in the morning, I realize by the time 9 o'clock rolls around, it's better if I just step away from the microphone. I've said enough dumb stuff for one day. But back then I was doing, 3 hours every night. We had commercials, but not like we have on the radio. But we took breaks just so that myself and the guest would have a break. But I would do 3 hours, 4 hours sometimes, no problem. But then I realized that's because the guest was doing most of the talking. If left to my own devices, like I would have been for 24 hours, probably wouldn't have been the best quality radio. And I would have said something that surely would have been very dumb, got me in trouble. Anyway, 508-996-0500. We were talking before about the Warwick Public Schools decision to give students an early release on Monday for the eclipse. Would you like to see other schools do that? Is that a smart idea? And then, we really haven't talked about the New Bedford Police crime report that was released yesterday, saying once again that crime is down, but admitting that shots fired incidents are up. So your thoughts on that too. 508-996-0500. I think that the crime report, and I haven't read the whole thing yet, but I gave it a cursory glance so far. And it does fall in line with national trends of property crime and violent crime being down. Those incidents are down from where they were 10 years ago. But perception is reality for people, and if they're hearing shots fired or they're and a bigger problem that we have that maybe we didn't have 10 years ago is how many people are listening to the police scanner and then have access to social media. That's part of the reason why perception has changed, because you've got a lot of people that have, because of these scanner apps now, people that are listening to the scanner, people that hear ShotSpotter activation incident, they hear all this different stuff, and then they go on Facebook or social media and they say, shots were fired in this area. And then the police investigate, and it turns out that it was a false alarm, or it wasn't shots fired, it was fireworks or something else, And then, but the perception is already the reality. And that's why we always caution people, what you hear on the scanner does not necessarily mean that is what happened. What you hear on the scanner is what has been reported, what has been called into the dispatch. It doesn't mean that that's what actually happened. There has been no investigation yet into it. They are asking for units to respond and investigate. So there's a lot of times when we are sitting in the newsroom and we hear something come across the scanner and we inquire about it and it turns out it was incorrect. Or it wasn't exactly the way that it was portrayed. Or it was something that was not as serious or something that we wouldn't report on. You might hear them surrounding somebody's house. And, okay, we've got 4 units and blah, 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 and we're going to go in and subject is inside. And you're like, okay, what's going on? But then come to find out they're executing an arrest warrant, which is not something that we report on. If somebody is just picked up on a warrant, we don't report on that. If they are picked up on a warrant in addition to something else, then yes. But just a warrant on its own, why would you write about this person and not that person? There's 100 people picked up on warrants every day across the South Coast. So that's why I always caution people. What you hear on the scanner doesn't necessarily mean that it's the truth of what happened. We try very, very, very hard not to have to put, according to scanner reports, in a news story. We want to have the facts of what happened, but unfortunately, not always do we get the answers to the questions that we ask of the local police. And then it doesn't just have to be New Bedford. It could be any of the local communities. So what ends up happening is we have to utilize what we heard on the scanner as information. And then we will say as such, according to scanner reports, unverified scanner reports say, but I can't tell you how many times we've gotten people who have messaged us from things that they heard on the scanner or saw somebody else post on social media that came from the scanner. And they're like, have you guys heard anything? How come you haven't done any story? Well, yeah, we've reached out, but there's no information to provide, or the scanner report was incorrect. Sometimes we have to say, rumors going around social media or incorrect scanner reports or what have you. So that's just one of the ways that we can handle things. So if you're looking, though, for the brighter side of things, as we're talking about something that's a downer like crime, if you're looking for the brighter side of things, how about nothing brighter than solar, right? And you might be thinking about going solar, but you're worried about all these gimmicks about solar, getting paid to go solar, getting a new free roof with solar. And you probably have questions about, is it better to lease or to buy? Is my home even a good fit for solar? Well, not every home is a good fit for solar, but Isaacson Solar is a company that will tell you the truth. They will give you an honest, transparent assessment. They will answer all of your questions with straightforward and simple answers. And if you are a good fit for solar, they will give you a free, no obligation quote. They're a local company. They don't just blow into town, sell a bunch of solar panels, and take off again like other companies do. They are based in Fall River. They are South Coasters. They are here to stay. So if you want to talk with them and find out if solar is right for you, then visit isaacsonsolar.com today, and they can answer all of your questions. I'm going to take a break here. When we come back, we will have our guest joining us, and we'll be back in just a few moments. All right, welcome back in. We are now joined by our special guest, Chakira Gonsalves, who is joining us to talk about, the Reggae on West Beach event has been going on for a few years now, right?
Yes, this is going to be our eighth season down at West Beach.
So before we get into everything, kind of give people who have never been an overview of what the event is all about.
Reggae on West Beach originally started from a woman by her name, Brooke Baptiste. She's the founder and creator of Reggae on West Beach. I think she went out and visited some places, and there was something similar going on in that area, and she was like, I think this would be really cool to bring to New Bedford.
And I know that it has a really good turnout. People look forward to this event every year.
Yeah, it's actually gotten really big, over the last few years. Brooke went into nursing. So she had to take a step back, and she decided she was going to pass it along to Fitz. And Fitz brought me on, and then we've just kind of expanded on the idea of what Reggae on West Beach really is.
And so when the event is going on, what type of things are happening down there?
So in the past few years, it's just been music on the beach, maybe a food truck or two. But me and Fitz have a bigger and broader connection to the community. So what we decided to do was bring all the people that we know in, and basically make sure that we have people there that have small businesses or just upstarting or entrepreneurs, and just get them out there, get their faces out there, get their products out there, let them know that this is a safe space that you could come down and sell your items. We make sure that all of our people are from New Bedford or as people of color. We look for women in business, kidpreneurs, so kids out there that want to get things going. We bring in people like Pace, and we want to make sure that all those resources that are in the city, that we can bring them down to one space.
So you're showcasing businesses, you're connecting people with organizations, and of course the main thing is you're providing great music.
Yes, the music is top tier there. So.
And how much does this cost people to attend?
It's free.
So you can't really beat it. What a great event to have happen. But now, as you're trying to get it on the books and get it planned for 2024, you've run into some stumbling blocks.
Yeah, in the past couple of years, we've had a few roadblocks. This year in particular, I put in the application for special permitting on our own because we were kind of butting heads with some people in the city spaces. Their vision and our vision is not the same. And I feel like if we're going to work together, we have to respect each other's missions. And that didn't seem to be the case. So this year we went forward and put in the application ourselves. And now we're on the scavenger hunt of information.
So there was nothing like kind of laid out for you as to what the process is? Nobody really kind of gave you a playbook to be able to get all this done? Or
So there is a playbook, but it seems like depending who you are when you walk into these spaces, the playbook changes. So that's a big problem for us.
What have been some of the things that you think are changes in what you've had to face?
This year, the biggest change for us was I've done special event permitting for other events like the community rollouts, things like roller disco and stuff like that we bring to the city that has nothing to do with reggae on West Beach. And although each event is a little bit different, it's Reggae on West Beach's application, when I originally brought it into them, it was almost getting kickbacks to me like, oh, you're missing this. And it's like, well, we don't need that because the rule is, we'll say insurance, for instance. Oh, you need insurance. Yeah, even if we do need insurance, number one, is it sponsored or not? We don't know. We didn't get to the board yet to even have that discussion. Number two, like, if I need insurance, the rule is your insurance binder needs to be with the city within 14 days from the first date of your event, which wouldn't have been till June. So if I'm submitting in January, you can't kick back my application because I'm not providing you insurance because those are your rules.
Right. But you should be able to move forward into the process.
Yes. And if you didn't know what the process was and that was your first time, you might have just listened to them and walked away. And then, now you're behind on your planning processes. It takes a lot of work to put on Reggae on West Beach. It's a very big event. So the logistics that go into it and the safety needs that go into it needs to start very, very early.
So when you say it's being kicked back, who is it that's kicking it back?
I think what's happening is the people down at DPI might be, calling somebody down at Parks and Recs and, inquiring because there's a lot of confusion. A lot of people think that Reggae on West Beach is owned by the city. It is not. It's its own entity. So I think that there's some confusion on, who calls the shots with those things.
Yeah, very few events are actually put on by the city. Mayor Mitchell has been in here before and said, we encourage, we don't have the manpower, we don't have the time and the resources to put on all different kinds of events. So we depend on people from the community to want to put on these events, and then we try and help them as best we can. Have you been in contact with anybody at City Hall to see if they can kind of advocate for you in some of these decisions? Well,
last week I actually finally got in with Human Resources, and I was able to file a few complaints that we've had from the last couple of years, and including this season that's coming up.
So what exactly do these complaints entail?
Some of the complaints that we have run into is blatant racism, words that are said to us in spaces that should not be said to us. I'm not going to repeat those words.
No, sure.
Obviously, we're on the radio here. People who act out and get out of their seats and raise their voices and point fingers at people instead of having like adult conversations. If I did those things in those spaces, immediately they would have called the police on me.
And has there ever been any incidents at Reggae on West Beach where they might feel like there's a reason to not want to have this event?
We haven't had any fights. We haven't had any accidents. We haven't had any, pedestrians hit by vehicles. As the program has grown over the last couple of years, we have, kicked it up a notch, especially with safety. I work in the public safety field. I've been working in the public safety field for about 20 years now. So it's very important that we make sure that everything runs safely. We've brought in our own crossing guards, and we've trained them well enough where they now work for New Bedford Public School Systems. So we're providing them not only with safety for events, but we're providing them with trained individuals for the public school systems.
Well, I'm just gonna have you hold on right there because we have to go into the newsroom with Phil. If you don't mind sticking around for a few more minutes, we can discuss this when we come back on the other side of the news.
Sure.
I kind of put you on the spot there. If you said no, people would be like, what? All right, well, let's go into the newsroom and get all of the headlines of the day from Phil Devitt.
A massive earthquake shakes Taiwan. A controversial immigration law heads to court. And Taylor Swift has no need to play Powerball.
From the WBSM Newsroom, this is WBSM News.
Rescue efforts are underway to search for people who might be trapped in buildings damaged by a massive magnitude 7.4 earthquake that struck off the coast of Taiwan. Michael Kastner reports.
Over half a dozen people were killed and hundreds were injured by the powerful earthquake that shook eastern Taiwan early Wednesday local time. Dozens of buildings were damaged by the quake, including a 10-story building that was left tilting and on the verge of collapse. Rescue workers were reportedly trying to reach the basement of the building, fearing people might still be trapped inside. I'm Michael Kastner.
A federal appeals court today will again hear arguments over a controversial Texas immigration law. The law would give the state the power to arrest migrants suspected of crossing the border illegally. Art Arthur at the Center for Immigration Studies says despite the hearing, the legal battle is not expected to be over anytime soon.
It's possible that SB 4 will never go into effect until the Supreme Court can finally issue a decision on the case, which will not happen this year.
The court last month continued a block on enforcing the law while litigation continues. The Biden administration is arguing that the federal government has exclusive authority to control immigration policy, regardless of Texas's opinion on how it goes about it. Presidential primaries took place in several states on Tuesday. Voters in Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, and Wisconsin chose their preferred presidential candidates.
It's good to show face.
I think it's important to pick people for the general election, and I think that starts in the primary. So if we don't pick the right person for the party, then we get garbage in the general election.
President Biden and former President Trump easily won yesterday, adding to their delegate hauls. The candidates for the general election are technically already set since Biden and Trump have secured enough delegates to win their party nominations. Tennessee officials say the suspect who allegedly killed a man during an Easter brunch has been arrested in Kentucky. Authorities believe 46-year-old Anton Rucker opened fire in a Nashville coffee shop Sunday, killing a man he'd been arguing with and injuring around half a dozen others. Police say Rucker was arrested without incident late Tuesday at a residence in western Kentucky, where he's being jailed as a fugitive from justice. Colorado Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert is recovering from emergency surgery. Boebert underwent the procedure after a blood clot was found in her leg. She's been diagnosed with May-Thurner syndrome, a condition which disrupts blood flow. And Taylor Swift is on Forbes' World Billionaires list. The singer-songwriter ranked at number 2,545 on this year's list with a $1.1 billion net worth. According to Forbes, Swift is the first musician to make the ranks solely based on her songs and performances. It also says her fortune includes more than $500 million in estimated wealth from touring, royalties, and her music catalog, on top of about $125 million in real estate.
WBSM Sports, brought to you by Sparks Auto in Dartmouth.
Red Sox beat the Oakland Athletics 5-4. Next game today at 3:30. Bruins beat the Nashville Predators 3-0. They play the Carolina Hurricanes on Thursday. And the Celtics and the Oklahoma City Thunder are at TD Garden tonight at 7:30.
Now, your ABC6 South Coast forecast.
Cloudy this Wednesday morning, temperature around 40, gusting up to 25 miles per hour. That wind out of the east. Rain moves back in this afternoon. Mid-40s, sustained wind up to 20 miles per hour. We'll be seeing the rain continue overnight tonight. Slight chance of a thunderstorm after midnight, gusting up to 25 miles per hour. Temperature dipping into the upper 30s for tomorrow. Rain again, first part of the day, mid-40s. The wind will continue. Be sure to watch ABC6 for my full 7-day forecast. From the ABC6 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Ceci Del Carmen on New Bedford's News Talk Station, 1420 WBSM.
I'm Phil Devitt for WBSM News. Stay up to date with New Bedford's News Talk Station, WBSM, and get all of our content and breaking news alerts with a WBSM app.
All right, welcome back in. We are talking with Chakira Gonsalves of Reggae on West Beach, and we're talking about some of the challenges that have been before you in trying to get the event. So just, basic information. When do you want to try to get this event happening this year?
Well, the plan usually is June, July, and August. It's always the last Sunday of the month. But the issue this year, I canceled June. I did a safety walkthrough with Val down from Parks and Recs, and there's construction going on down there. There's renovations of that bathhouse. Mm-hmm. There's going to be some renovations of some handicap access areas. Now, the city didn't tell me that I had to cancel June. I just think financially it's not a smart idea. Safety-wise, not a smart idea. Accessibility-wise, not a smart idea.
And so this is something, again, that is free for people to attend, but it's put on through how do you fund everything that goes on? Donations? Is it through selling vendor space? How do you put this on?
So we sell vendor space. I know we have probably one of the lowest vendor fees. We only charge like $50 per vendor per day. For the food trucks, it's like $100 per day, which I believe is also pretty low for an event of this scale. We sell T-shirts, stickers, little merch stuff that we might make. We do fundraising, donations. We do sponsorship, and we apply for grants.
And so you're basically self-sufficient. So all it takes is just you come in, again, doing this for 8 years, you know what goes on. You just go in with the plan and you would think, hey, it's just going to be just like it was last year, just like we've been doing. Maybe we're going to make it a little bit better each year, but it's kind of self-perpetuating at this point. You shouldn't be hitting roadblocks and trying to get it going.
Especially like me being, this is the third year of me doing logistics. So I know what my first year, my second year, and what my third year should look like growth-wise, because we keep track of all these things. And we also put out like surveys to the public and surrounding neighbors in the area. So we get some feedback. So if somebody's like, hey, the music was too loud, I live on XYZ address, we could, place the speakers elsewhere. Not that that's ever been a complaint. We haven't gotten a complaint about any noise concerns or anything like that. Not even parking complaints.
Well, that was the question I was going to have, is how the neighborhood has taken that, because we know on the other side of things, the water park that was put in, a lot of the neighbors were against that. They were against the people parking there. They were against the noise that would come from it. They were against it being in the way of their big view and all of that. But it sounds like the neighborhood has been pretty accepting of this event, or else it never would have made it to year 8.
Yeah, I also think that the demographics of the neighborhoods between East and West are very different. So we got to keep that in mind too.
So I would guess you probably have a lot of people from the neighborhood that come down and take part in all the festivities.
Exactly.
So now, where are you in the process? What are you waiting for to be able to move forward and to say, yes, we're definitely having this year?
So where we are at right now is we have another park board meeting on, I believe, April 17th. It should be cut and dry. It should be, because the only changes that we made was the time. Instead of 3 to 7, it would be 2 to 6. So, the logistics of it and the safety factors of it, they all fit the same exact way it was last year. So it should have been cut and dry the last time we went to the park board meeting. But there was a discrepancy when they asked, is this going to be sponsored or not? And Mary Oposa turned around and said, she never came to my office. And I'm like, it's never been like that. It's never been like that for sponsorship. Now, with sponsorship of the city, it's helpful because it helps us with some costs like insurance and not that they have to take out their own policy. They have their own policy already, right, and we're just be umbrellaed underneath them. It also helps with rental of the facility area and electricity and stuff. So without sponsorship this year, we would be responsible for paying for, I believe it's $95 an hour for the pavilion and then $95 an hour for across the street. So my complaint is it almost feels like double dipping. Even though it's 2 separate locations, it's in the same location, literally across the street. Right. And we're not taking over the entire park.
You wouldn't need one if it wasn't for the other.
Yeah, because we're growing, we need that access to Hazelwood Park. Otherwise, you take all those people and put them on a small shore. Now the safety issues are going to start to come up.
Well, I think part of, what makes events like this so successful and what really makes them come back year after year after year are the people.
Yes.
The people who love these events and attend them. Is there something that can help you out with, can people send in emails, send in letters? Can they give you, letters of support that you can bring and have on your behalf? Do you need that? Do you need to have people, on your behalf showing up maybe at the meeting and cheering you on?
Yeah, we did actually put out a Facebook event for the park board meeting. I'm trying to educate people on it's not really hard to put these events together, especially if you start off very small for special events. And it's if we are learning this information, we want to share this information with those groups as well. That way, if they hit any roadblocks, we might have an answer because, they're getting the run around someplace else. Or somebody told them one thing and it's probably not. So it's like come down and learn about the process, but also like come down and support us as well.
Well, hopefully everything can come together at that meeting and everything gets approved. And then you said it'll be in July and August?
Yes, it's going to be the last Sunday of the month in July and in August this year.
And you would think an earlier time should have no problem getting, we know that, sometimes the city doesn't like when events go too late, but, moving it an hour earlier to start and an hour earlier to shut down is, I'm sure they're in favor of that idea.
Yeah, it seemed like the park board was pretty cool with that change. They asked me why the change, and it was just, honestly, I need more daylight when it comes to cleaning the park. When it ended at 7 o'clock, I would be there until 9 o'clock, making sure that all the beaches were clean and that the trash cans were picked up by DPI, because sometimes they leave them, they don't find them because it's too dark in the park. So we wanted to make sure that all those, trash barrels and everything is removed, because I return again the next morning to clean up anything that seagulls might have gotten into. I can't control the animals, but if we can at least make sure that all the trash is picked up, then we'd be in a better place. And I think the daylight's going to help us save that.
Yeah, but you want to leave it, the same or better than you found it.
Oh, we definitely leave it better than we find it, because we go out there at 8 o'clock in the morning and we make sure that we clean that beach and clean that park. And we're starting off fresh, and we hand out trash bags to people. We have Operation Clean Sweep come down. We pay kids to help us with the trash throughout the day. All the cans that are there that get recycled, we bring them to redemption, and then we give the kids that funding too.
Oh, very nice. So do you need help? Do you need volunteers? Do you need people to help with the event?
So we always take volunteers, but we like to pay our people. We think that your time is valuable, and as long as we're on the same page, and if you want to come down and do an hour or two, we pay everybody minimum wage to help us out, even the kids. Just if you're a kid, you just got to make sure that you have parental permission. And if you're under 16, you have to have a parent with you, because obviously I can't keep an eye on somebody else's.
You're not going to be responsible for all those kids.
So, but if mom and dad is there on the beach and they don't mind their kid picking up some trash to make a little bit of extra money, they're more than welcome to join us.
And how can people reach out if they do want to take part?
We have Reggae on West Beach on Facebook and Instagram. We also have emails, which is rowbvendors@gmail.com, and Reggae on West Beach gmail.com.
And before we let you go, I want to talk to you about a couple of things that you brought to my attention. First of all, on April 7th, there's a blood drive happening. Can you give us some details on that?
Yeah, we call it the Not Your Average Blood Drive. I'm a sickle cell patient, and I have a lot of health concerns. Blood donors save me, so since I can't donate blood, we figured that this is a good way to give back. Also, the Red Cross will be doing free sickle cell trait testing. We service a lot of the minorities in the area with Reggae on West Beach, and in the minority groups, sickle cell is very high. Some people don't even know that they carry the trait. So we thought this was a good way to get people informed about sickle cell and get in touch with their community members and maybe give back. We also have Marisol Carrion, who is looking for a kidney. She is O positive, but you don't have to be a blood match to be a kidney donor. There's actually an exchange program that goes on in Boston. So you would give your kidney to somebody else, but that would help her get a kidney in return. Yeah, so maybe their family member is O positive and, you might be A. You guys can kind of swap services, and basically both families end up with healthy people and healthy kidneys. So
the blood drive is happening on April 7th from 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., 145 Brownell Avenue in New Bedford.
Yep, that's going to be the Jewish synagogue and our sister school. They share a space. The students, I believe, use it for their gym, and I believe the church uses it as a banquet hall.
So you're taking blood donations, but they'll also be screening that blood for sickle cell?
Yes.
So if you are concerned, that's a good way to find out without having to pay any medical testing.
Exactly.
And then, if people are interested in donating to Marisol, how can they get in touch for that?
We actually have it up on our Facebook page. I'll have to bring that up for you again.
Let me see here. I've got some, I can give you a phone number that you can call. You can call Karen, looks like Carreri.
Yep, Karen Carreri, the transplant clinical admin.
And you can call 617-638-8368 or 617-638-8430. And I know people don't always have a pen and paper handy, but they can catch it on the podcast and listen back later and be able to get that. So let's hope that we can find her a kidney. Let's hope we get people to donate blood, and let's hope that we can help you get volunteers and get everything going for Reggae on West Beach.
Yeah.
All right. Well, keep us up to date with everything, and we look forward to getting down there and having some fun in July and August.
Yeah, come on down. It's a great time.
All right. I got to take a break here. We'll be back in just a few moments. 508-996-0500. That every morning, if you are looking for something delicious, you can stop by Sunrise Bakery and Coffee Shop at 506 Bolton Street in New Bedford, and you can get things like their famous pastries, their muffins, their donuts, coffee, everything that you need to get your day started off deliciously. But also keep Sunrise Bakery and Coffee Shop in mind for all of your important festivities that are coming up. It's that time of year. Birthdays are happening. It seems like everybody's birthday is in the spring. We've got graduations coming up. We have anniversaries. People love to get married this time of year, which means they're all celebrating anniversaries this time of year. And of course, the big one coming up, Mother's Day. There are celebrations happening pretty much every weekend. And if you want to make those celebrations the best they can be, the folks at Sunrise Bakery and Coffee Shop in New Bedford can help you with that. So not only can you get their pastries, their muffins, their donuts, and everything to bring to these celebrations, they can also take care of the lunch crowd too. We're talking about all of their delicious homemade sandwiches, things like cassoulet sandwiches, tuna sandwiches, linguiça and cheese rolls, chicken salad. They make it all there. They can stuff those sandwiches for you and have them ready to go, or you can pick up their homemade Portuguese bread and pops and get some of those salads and cassoulet and stuff them yourself. Whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, they just want to make sure they make it easy for you. So check out Sunrise Bakery and Coffee Shop for all of your great celebrations. Don't forget to pick up some of their famous rice pudding, which you don't have to share with everybody at the party. You can keep that just for yourself if you want. I'm not going to tell. But it's all available for you at Sunrise Bakery and Coffee Shop, 506 Bolton Street in New Bedford. A sensational continental feel. I've got to take one final break here before the end of the morning, and then we'll come back and wrap things up. Stay tuned. All right, we are just about out of time. I want to thank Chakira for coming in and joining us today. Remind everybody again how they can follow along with Reggae on West Beach.
We have Reggae on West Beach on Facebook and Instagram. We post all of our stuff there. We have a lot of transparency posts, so you can learn about everything on how to, start your own special events and what the process is as we learn some roadblocks and how to get over them.
And that is an important thing. People can reach out to you if they want to put on their own something or other just for advice, just to find out.
Yeah, especially when it comes down to logistics. We're pretty good with working out the kinks and how to make something safe. So if you have an idea, bring it to the table and we can help you out.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for me for today. Chris has you coming up next with South Coast Now. He's got the mayor coming on at 11. A lot of things to discuss. I'm going to guess that the crime report is probably going to come up in that discussion. So. And of course, you can call in and talk to the mayor at 508-996-0500. I've got a couple of stories that will be coming your way, including, and I'm working on getting some more details about this and hopefully getting something up today. But I mentioned earlier that New Bedford's own pro wrestling superstar, Teddy Goods, he's actually a Westport guy, but he owns Kojo's Toy World in New Bedford, which is moving down the street. But he was on SmackDown on Friday night. So he got to be in one of the main segments on SmackDown Friday night. So maybe we can bring you some more information about that. And then, of course, also today, Treasure Hill Thrift Emporium is open. So if you want to take part in that book swap, you can go down there today. They open up at 1 o'clock, and you can bring 3 books a week and exchange them for 3 other books and maybe pick up something new that you've never read before without a cost.
What's the easiest choice you can make? Window instead of middle seat? Picking a vendor who sends a great gift basket? Outsourcing business tasks you hate? What about selling with Shopify? Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell. Wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/try. Go to shopify.com/try now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/try.